And already we're borrowing 20 cents out of every federal dollar we spend. And consequently, all I'm arguing is that there's better ways to spend money than artificial hearts.
You don't mince any words, though, when you talk out on issues.
Well, I mean, I think people are tired of they're tired of politicians, you know, on one hand and then on the other. Controversy has always been my friend. It's never been my enemy.
Why did you decide not to run for governor?
Well, I've been the longest serving governor in Colorado's history. I've been around 12 years. You start seeing the same problems come back 12 years. It seems to me politicians stay on too long. I went in, I did my best, and then it's time to go on and not try to hang on with your fingernails.
Is there a political future for you?
I think not. I really think that I've enjoyed it a great deal. I really tried to make my contribution, and I really want to go on to other things. Life is full of different things.
When you say that, though, you sound like you're a very optimistic person, yet you got the nickname as the governor of Colorado as Governor Gloom.
Yeah, that's really what I'm running for. I want to be the next Paul Revere. I really do. I want to go out and tell people what they don't want to hear. I mean, politicians tell people what they want to hear. I want to tell people we are in serious trouble, like every other great civilization. You know, Toynbee says all great civilizations commit suicide, and I think that this great civilization's got to get its act together, or we're going to be in the ash bin of history.
What's our first priority?
Oh, I suppose the three things that I would say, I guess, would be number one, balancing the budget. To my mind, the only honest political platform in America is I'm going to raise your taxes and I'm going to cut your benefits. I mean, that's what a $200 billion deficit is. We're going to have to make some hard choices. We're going to have to look at all kinds of things that politicians hate to look at: Social Security, Medicare, veterans benefits, federal civil service benefits, reducing military spending, and raising taxes. So I think the second one would be education system. Our children are testing in the lower third of all international tests. You know, in math we're last. An 8th grader in Japan knows more math than an MBA in the United States. So reforming the education system, and I suppose the third one would be the healthcare system.
Is this the kind of thing that you're talking about at Dartmouth?
Yeah, I teach a course called Hard Choices that tries to look at all the hard choices that I think our society is not making.
And what kind of response are you getting from the kids?
I think that, listen,
kids, I should say students.
Those students out there, they understand that, I mean, they look at something like Social Security. Boy, they recognize that they're going to get a lot worse deal than their parents and their grandparents got on Social Security. I think this generation of students is very realistic, and that they realize that they're going to have some tough choices in their future.
Do you think they'll make the right ones?
I don't know. I think that there's a great propensity in America for good news, for happy talk, for people to. Adlai Stevenson once said, given the choice between disagreeable fact and agreeable fantasy, Americans will choose fantasy every time. I hope this generation will realize that a great society like ours has to make some hard choices.
We all hope that. Thank you, Governor Richard Lamm, for being with us.
Coming up next, national and local news, plus comedian Steve Oedekerk. Stay with us.
It's from Jill. Happy Mother's Day. Hang in there, Mom. Jill is so different from Catherine. Catherine took ballet. Jill took up baseball. Catherine played the cello.
Jill played the stereo.
Here's one from Catherine. Now that I'm a mother, I hope I can do it as well as you did. I really miss those two. I guess we did a pretty good job.
Mother's Day is May 10th. You'll find just the right card at Hallmark, the place to go when you care enough to send the very best.
After 7 days with Dove, my skin felt soft. With Dove, I'm a good-looking grandma.
Dove contains 1/4 moisturizing cream. It won't dry your face like soap.
I used to think Dove was just another soap. It's not a soap. I know it. I can feel it.
For post-natural brand flakes, Steve Allen on getting the best out of life.
My best always comes out with a little humor, and sometimes with a sliced banana.
Reach for the best-tasting, highest fiber brand flake. Post. Brand flakes at their best.
Want to see him smile? Don't touch that dial. Make Jell-O no bake pies. Want him begging for more? Then open this door. Make Jell-O no bake pies. They're so easy to make, because there's nothing to bake. A remarkable creation that'll win appreciation. Make Jell-O no bake pies. Don't touch that dial.
I got what I need to be beautiful, and it's not the clothes I wear. All I need, baby, is new flex, new flex, beautiful hair.
New Flex conditioner with panthenol works from the inside. Makes your hair more beautiful outside.
All I want is New Flex.
New Flex from Revlon.
New Flex, beautiful hair. Yeah.
It's time now for national and local news. We go to CBS News and Forrest Sawyer. Good morning, Forrest.
Good morning, Rolland. And in the news this morning, televised public hearings into the Iran-Contra affair are just one day away on Capitol Hill. And President Reagan is not backing away from his support of Nicaragua's Contra rebels. But the president is changing his pitch. Instead of urging military defeat of the Sandinista government, Mr. Reagan is now calling for free democratic elections in the country of Nicaragua.
This, the 100th anniversary. This is the choice before Congress and our people, a basic choice, really, between democracy and communism in Nicaragua, between freedom and Soviet-backed tyranny.
The chairman of the Senate Investigating Committee, Democrat Daniel Inouye, is charging that Mr. Reagan knew that money was being raised to provide weapons for the Contras in Nicaragua. But the president has quickly denied Inouye's allegation, Mr. Reagan saying he had no such detailed information. CBS News will present live coverage tomorrow when the hearings open at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. As the president puts a new spin on his policy toward Nicaragua, the Contra rebels are also planning some changes. Meeting in Miami, rebel leaders say they have decided to make their organization more representative of the Nicaraguan people. The Contras have tentatively agreed to expand their assembly and elect new directors. A report this morning that a key Star Wars component was described by government officials 5 years ago as unworkable. The New York Times quotes documents critical of plans to use space-based rockets against enemy missiles. One early critic, Defense Secretary Weinberger, who is now a supporter because of technical advances that are supposed to make the system work. Gary Hart's presidential campaign manager is accusing the Miami Herald of hiding in bushes and peeking in windows to come up with a false story about Hart's personal life. The newspaper is saying that womanizing has become a major issue in the Hart campaign, has reported that the candidate spent most of the weekend with a young woman in his Washington townhouse while his wife was in Denver. Hart says not true. He has, quote, no personal relationship with the woman. Campaign manager William Dixon calls the story preposterous, inaccurate, and outrageous character assassination. And say goodbye to Dr. J. Julius Erving has played his final game. The Milwaukee Bucks knocked the 76ers out of the playoffs, ending what Irving said was his last season after 16 years. I'm Forrest Sawyer, and that is the latest from CBS News.
Good morning. I'm Phyllis Armstrong. In local news this morning, Conrail engineer Ricky Gates could be indicted on manslaughter charges today. The grand jury investigating the fatal Amtrak crash is scheduled to release its findings this afternoon. The Baltimore Evening Sun says state prosecutors will seek to gain a manslaughter indictment against Gates. Gates was at the controls when the Conrail locomotive pulled in front of the Amtrak passenger train. Investigators say he ran the locomotive through two signals that told him to slow down and stop before the crash. The accident killed 16 people and injured 175 others. A serious accident in Prince George's County this morning has left an off-duty police officer and two other people hospitalized. Authorities say the officer was traveling southbound on I-95 between Ritchie Road and Central Avenue when another car crossed over the median and crashed head-on into his cruiser. The officer and two people in the passenger car were rushed to Prince George's Hospital. Police say the driver of the passenger car may have fallen asleep. A new report out today says the mayor decided to cancel Operation Clean Sweep, not the police chief. After a public outcry, the mayor blamed the action on a brain-dead police chief Turner. Today's Washington Times says, however, the mayor decided to cut the popular drug enforcement program. Operation Clean Sweep is now back in effect. Here's Jerry Edwards at Metro Traffic Control with a look at the rush hour.
Thank you, Phyllis. No one is moving very quickly around the metropolitan area today. I'll tell you, the outer loop going to be slow, getting around to the Mormon Temple. The inner loop is very slow, getting to 95 because the ramp from the inner loop to go northbound 95 jammed. 270 bumper to bumper. The Shirley Highway well below the posted speeds. Phyllis?
No sunshine for our Monday.
Very cool and wet. Tell you about it in a minute.
Come, feel the freshness. Tropicana Pure Premium shades your morning with a taste so fresh, so pure, so natural. Tropicana Pure Premium. Only Florida oranges. With nothing added, nothing taken away. The taste could only be one. Tropicana. Feel the freshness. It's pure Tropicana.
Meet the competition. They play tough. But we're out to beat them at their own game by bringing you the best videotape we know how to make, and the best value, too. SKC videotape. Great performance, vibrant color, superb sound, and the durability to use over and over. Try SKC. See why other tapes don't like us, and you're going to love us. We've even earned the Good Housekeeping seal.
For a limited time, save up to $20 on SKC tape.
Good morning, everyone. Large area of rain, some of it heavy, will be with us for the next several hours at least on the steady side and pretty heavy. There'll be some flooding in low-lying areas, especially in poor drainage areas. National map shows the reason for it. Low pressure here, high pressure to the north, and that cold, persistent northeast flow off the Atlantic. My forecast for today, periods of rain heavy this morning, lasting all day, drizzle to only 50 to 55, and a strong northeast wind.
We'll be back at 8:18.
It's 8 minutes before the hour. Hi there, it's time now for Comedy Club. This morning's comedian, believe it or not, was born and raised in Huntington Beach, California, which just might explain why he majored in tennis in college. He is a friend of mine, and he was the cameraman at my Las Vegas wedding. This is true. Please welcome my friend Steve Oedekerk.
Oh. You call that an ovation? Come on. Please keep your seats, all of you. Please, God forbid. I've been. This is pretty neat, isn't it? I've been in a weird mood all day. You ever get like that? You get up real early, and then you know what I'm talking about? And then it's like the weather or something. I don't know. But you just feel off, and you don't know what it is. Maybe it's me. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you, folks. One of these arms is fake, completely fake. You can be the judge. Is it this arm? Or is it this one? Take your time. Do we have any? There's a lot of guys there. They're the place to meet women now, like what, discos, dance places. Big joke with loud music. If you just want to have fun, you get one of these. Go on these places and do this. It works out great. The simplest people on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. All right, this is really stupid. This is incredibly stupid. If you've ever seen a stupid thing, this might be like worse. It's the amazing balloon thing. It's also incredibly neat looking, and I thought it up, darn it. In the future, when you all do this, and believe me, in the future, you will all do this. I get full credit. It's incredibly dumb, but it's mine. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the amazing balloon thing.
Mr. Johnson, your car needs points, plugs, brakes, lube job, transmission, tires.
11 minutes. You always get your way at Orsman Chevrolet. We're the #1 dealer with the #1 deal.
For years, Orsman Chevrolet in Marlow Heights has been giving people their way. And the same is true at Orsman Mitsubishi right next door. For service, selection, and the best price.
Oh, you always get your way at Orsman Chevrolet. Hey.
David is right at home with indoor air pollution. You are too. So many familiar things inside can pollute the very air you breathe. Surprised? Honeywell isn't. Today, you need a quality Honeywell air cleaner. It can remove up to 95% of the air's polluting particles. Switch. to a better environment. Call now to learn more about a Honeywell air cleaner.
Kmart, America's favorite store, has some great ideas for Mom from Black & Decker, like their Space Maker drip coffee maker. Clock timer brews coffee automatically. Kmart sale price $48.88. Black & Decker Space Maker can opener mounts conveniently under cabinet. Kmart sale price $17.97. And Black & Decker Space Maker toaster oven bakes broils and toasts. Kmart sale price $79.97. These great ideas for Mom are at Kmart.
America's favorite store.
It's time now for Sports Watch, and here's Jim Hill.
Good morning, everyone. You know, there's been a great deal of attention in recent weeks focused on minorities in positions of authority in professional sports. This morning, a young lady doing her best to change all that. Tracy Lewis is the president of the Savannah Cardinals, the first black to hold such an office since the demise of the National Negro League in the 1950s.
We want to just be able to show that we're responsible people, you know, even though we are black, you know, we have the necessities to get the job done, and we intend to demonstrate that.
Lewis's father purchased the club last year after reading an ad in the Wall Street Journal.
We were aware that, you know, this was a first.
She started her job with little fanfare, but that all changed when controversial comments by former Dodger general manager Al Campanis thrust her into the national spotlight.
And I think it was quite unfortunate. I was rather surprised that in 1987 on a national television show that we'd have to hear those kind of comments.
In a television interview April the 6th, Campanis suggested blacks may lack, quote, the necessities to become field managers or front office executives. He resigned 2 days later. Lewis said that incident brought to light the fact that the national pastime must close its doors on racism and open its front office doors to all minorities.
I think that it is, like a lot of professions, you know, it's very closed, you know, people who have been involved and have been involved for years, and I just think it's been like a lack of openness in education that have kept a lot of people, you know, from getting involved with the sport.
It's been 40 years since Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in the major leagues. What he accomplished in a Dodger uniform has changed the face of baseball. What Tracy Lewis accomplishes in Savannah may change it even more. But it's not the far-reaching effects of her presidency that most concerns her. Her biggest challenge remains right here in Savannah, where a young black woman from the North is trying to find success in the Deep South.
We are involved every day creatively, trying to figure out what's going to interest this community and everything that...
Tomorrow on CBS. It was planned, it was evil. Can her sins be forgiven?
I'm all the strength you'll need, I promise.
Can this murder go unpunished?
Can't prove a thing, Lorna.
Tom Bird is a man of God. Well, I hope you're ready to go to jail for God.
The powerful, controversial conclusion. Murder ordained, based on a true story.
This is CBS.
Whether you're remodeling, replacing, or building new, we present an open and shut case for Henderson Windows. Henderson Windows and Patio Doors, opening and closing daily in America's finest homes, as well as her finest dealers.
Available at Metropolitan Millwork, Dunkirk Supply, Arlington Woodworking, and Wheaton Lumber.
Tell all the world. The Made in the USA label. It matters so much because of what it really stands for. Tell all the world.
It stands for the quality of the clothes we work in.
And the style and fashions we play in.
And it stands for America, for what we are today.
And what will be tomorrow.
Tell all the world. So ask for and buy apparel and hold fashion that say, Made in the USA.
Tell all the world, America matters. America matters to you.
Wheel of Fortune's Vanna White talks about a rise to fame Monday on Donahue.
In case you've just joined us, here are this morning's headlines. There'll be more later from CBS News with Faith Daniels. Congress begins televised hearings into the Iran-Contra affair tomorrow morning, and the chairman of the Senate Investigating Committee, Daniel Inouye, said that President Reagan knew that money was being raised to buy arms for the rebels in Nicaragua. The president denies the charge.
And in the hour ahead, you'll meet Hunt Block of Knott's Landing, comedian Jack Carter, and Gene Kennedy Smith.
Plus, Dr. Bob Arnot will have the latest news, hopeful news, we're told, on sudden infant death syndrome. Something new.
Governor Lamm of Colorado was talking about very ethical questions, wasn't he? So
And hard choices.
And hard choices. Yeah. And in the next half hour, we are going to be looking at a new book by Gregory Stock called The Book of Questions. There are no answers in this book, so we're going to go to our audience at some point and ask some very difficult questions.
But you know the one question that most people really want to ask each day?
What?
What's the weather going to be? That's true.
Right, Rolland.
Every morning.
It's true.
Millions of Americans get up and say, what's the weather, Mark?
You know what I wonder? When weathermen get up, what do they ask? Is breakfast on the table? I don't know. May 4th, 1977, 10 years ago, was the most active day of 1977 from the standpoint of numbers of tornadoes. Kansas City reported 10 tornadoes that day in the Kansas City area, resulting in 25 homes destroyed and 56 damaged in the KC area. So that was sort of a strange day 10 years ago. The weather today does not get much better. In the northeast, look for rain along the coastline all day and into Tuesday. I'm going to put this little guy out here. That's what you may look like today if you do not have your rain gear with you. Showers and thunderstorms will hammer eastern Virginia and North Carolina with heavy rain and gusty winds. The news does not get any better as we move to the southern plains and lower Mississippi Valley. Watch out for thunderstorms causing very heavy downpours along with hail and lightning. Not much fun. Yesterday, parts of Texas got hit by large hail. More of that kind of weather can be expected today, so we'll put this little fella down there as well, little Marky Mo, watching out for rain in 2 parts of the country. A cold, rainy day is in store for the eastern Rockies and western plains. The northwest will be mostly cloudy and hopefully dry, while the best place to be is in the southwest. As I mentioned, they probably have beaches, but they have no oceans down there. That much I do know. Plenty of sunshine in Phoenix's 96-degree high today will leave that area temperature-wise as a summer-like day is in store for the southwest. That's a quick look at the national picture. Here's the forecast for your neck of the woods.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Bill Kamal. That persistent easterly flow off the Atlantic will give us much cooler than normal temperatures the next couple of days with periods of rain and drizzle. Highs each day only in the 50s, tonight's low in the upper 40s. I'll have a complete local report in just a few minutes.
That's the weather up to the moment. This portion of the morning program is sponsored by Stouffer's Lean Cuisine. More satisfaction only from Stouffer's.
Our next guest is living proof that beauty's only skin deep. He plays the conniving, sinister Senator Peter Hollister on the hit CBS series Knots Landing. Stop giggling. Before we meet him, let's take a look at him working.
I heard a rumor going around that...
Oh. Gee, that was so fast. We were sitting here talking.
I know.
What did you say? Beauty's only skin deep? He whispered to me, beauty's only skin deep. This is Hunt Block.
Hello. Thank you.
That's kind of rough work. Do you enjoy it?
Yes, I do.
To be honest, to be perfectly honest, yeah. Donna Mills is nice. I mean, she's sexy.
She's very sexy, yeah. She's a wonderful woman. Very easy to work with, very professional, knows what she wants, and
really, and she goes out and gets it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm all those things, too. Anyway.
I've heard.
You've heard? Yeah. Only for me.
Rolland and I were talking.
My reputation does not precede me. Hunt Block, is that your real name?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I had no choice, actually.
But I mean, your mom's name was Block, right? And then she came up with Hunt.
Well, no, my father's name was Block.
Right, I know that.
Yes, and Huntington.
Oh, Huntington Block.
And once I started going to school, Huntington really didn't play.
Even in Princeton?
I've been to Princeton, but I went to school at Harvard, actually. I've traveled through Princeton.
Now, as I understand, last count in this Knots Landing, you have been through 3 women. Is this true?
Yeah. Well, actually, there was one other that wasn't broadcast.
4?
Yeah.
And now, who are you going to end up with? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
Isn't that the terrible thing about doing series, right?
Yeah, it's like, it's the first job I've ever had that didn't have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's just a beginning, so you kind of waft out like Columbus trying to make for Puerto Rico. You know? If you make one variant degree, you end up in Nova Scotia.
And you don't know it until you get in the next day, right?
That's right.
I mean, because you never know.
Or sometimes until it's shown.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sure. You don't know what plays and what doesn't.
Oh, you mean, I had a question. I've completely forgotten it.
All right.
No, let me, I know what it was. Okay. You play a real bad guy, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, he's really rotten.
I think he's kind of a victim of his own ambition to a certain extent. You can't, no actor is going to say, who plays a bad guy, is going to say he's a bad guy, because nobody believes that what they do is bad. Even Hitler thought that what he was doing was okay, was right. He believed in what he was doing. So my job is to get behind that and try and find a way where all these Machiavellian manipulations are logical and have a consistency through them.
Do you ever find that that slops over into real life?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a wash, particularly on a TV show where you don't have the parameters that you do in anything else. I've had things come up that maybe I was working with on the show that I brought back into my private life, but that was part of the reason I became an actor, was to be able to obsess on something.
Really?
Yes.
Now, you haven't always been an actor. You have an incredibly varied background, from shipbuilding to garbage collecting.
Yes.
What'd you like best?
I liked working in ships, actually the best.
And where were you working in ships?
Massachusetts. Actually, I've worked in Sweden and Massachusetts.
And you went to New Guinea to find yourself?
Well, actually, I knew where I was, but there were
You didn't know where New Guinea was?
I didn't know where New Guinea was.
Okay. So you went to New Guinea to find New Guinea, but in the process, who else did you find? No, that's okay.
I found a lot of wonderful people and a certain peace that I hadn't found in the wintertime in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Little tough competition there?
In New Guinea?
No, in Cambridge in the wintertime.
No, it's just trying to make the bus. The slush was so brutal.
There's no slush in New Guinea.
No slush in New Guinea.
But then you weren't studying to be an actor, you were studying to be an anthropologist.
Yes, and a filmmaker. And when I went to the Smithsonian and applied for work, and they said, okay, we'll give you a camera and some film, but you can't edit your film, which to me is the essence of everything. So I tried to get a job in film, basic film, and did. That led to New York, where I began to study directing. And somebody asked me to be in a show, and I did it. And I discovered that it was a lot like traveling, acting, in terms of going somewhere new with just your instincts.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah.
Well, you're a great sport, and thank you for coming today.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Coming up next, we'll ask some questions that will challenge your conscience. So stay with us.
A toast, everybody.
The problem with owning outrageously expensive crystal is that you're afraid to use it. Fortunately, there's Cristal Dark, elegant French lead crystal that compares with the most expensive imported crystal, with one exception, the price. Cristal Dark, fine French crystal you won't be afraid to use.
Another toast.
The new Rosenthal Toyota is open in the Capitol Plaza Mall in Landover, Maryland. To celebrate, all locations will sell you a new car or truck with no money down. All you need is the cash for tax and tags and your good credit. And you still get $500 cash back and the factory incentives that apply. Now at America's largest, Rosenthal Nissan Honda in Tyson's Corner and the all-new Rosenthal Toyota. Plus, register to win a new car or truck at any location during the grand opening celebration of Rosenthal Toyota in the Capitol Plaza Mall, Landover, Maryland.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
You ready?
yes.
No, wait a minute.
Oh, yes,
Let me
you
do
have to
this first.
introduce it, right.
Let's see, this is a little book.
Okay.
And it's by Gregory Stock, and it's called The Book of Questions. Now, as the title suggests, it's full of questions, but not a single answer. Now, that's because these questions, that's right, these questions have no right answers, or wrong ones for that matter. Okay. They test your ethics and beliefs. Some are fun, like if you got $20,000, would you go for 3 months without washing or brushing your teeth or using a deodorant?
Sounds like this job. Okay.
Some of them are really tough, though. We'd like to try a few out on you and use our audience as guinea pigs, so to speak. There's no right answers, there's no wrong answers. Only honest ones and dishonest ones. So here's, Bob, you ready with the...
I'm sorry, your intro was so long we're out of time.
Okay, we ready?
Yep, go ahead.
Would you accept $1 million to leave the country, this country, any country, and never set foot in it again?
Anyone have the answer to that? Would you
choose somebody, Bob. Just choose somebody.
Yes.
No.
Most of them are yes and no answers. So that's
Oh, they are.
So she was correct.
Right. Okay, an eccentric millionaire offers to donate a large sum to charity if you will step completely naked from a car into a busy downtown street, walk 4 blocks, climb back into the car, knowing that you'll be in no physical danger or abuse.
I'll do that.
I'd do it.
Can I do it now?
Would you do it?
Would I?
Yeah.
Sure, I'd do it.
Yeah, okay. Tony told me to say
Mariette
yes.
says yes, she
I'd do
would,
it.
too.
It depends upon which charity.
How about that young man next
Would you do it, sir?
Oh, definitely.
That's interesting. Got another one?
Someone's going to ask me to do that now. I know it. Why did I say that? Okay. Would you
I'm taking up a collection.
Would you like your spouse to be both smarter and more attractive than you?
Would you like your spouse to be smarter and more attractive than you?
He already is.
He already is.
Yeah.
That's not the question.
That's a beautiful answer, though. I love that.
Yes or no?
Sure.
Okay, let's go on.
All right, what you discover your wonderful 1-year-old child, because of a mix-up in the hospital, is not yours. Would you want to exchange the child to correct the mistake?
Ooh,
let me ask this man.
Yes, I'd want it corrected, for sure.
Would you be willing to reduce your life expectancy by 5 years to become extremely attractive?
Let me look for you, sir. You're not extremely attractive.
Come on, Mr. Hartley, the truth.
I have to take this abuse. Today's my birthday.
Oh!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
You do that.
Yes, yes.
Would you would then?
Yes.
He would.
Yes, he would, huh?
All right, here's a downer, I think. So would you be willing to murder an innocent person if it would end hunger in the world?
Gosh.
What question?
Gee, it's only 8:10.
Hey, good morning. Nice to make you happy in the morning.
Well, what's the one you talked about with butterflies? Do that one. What was,
I've forgotten it. Butterflies. Would you be willing to go on a long vacation if the only requirement was to rip the butterfly wings off the butterfly?
Ooh. See? Yes or no?
Would you be willing to give up all television for the next 5 years if it would induce someone to provide for 1,000 starving children in Indonesia? Yes! Okay. Bye-bye.
Coming up
We'll
next,
see you soon.
national local news. Dr. Bob Arnot with the latest and hopeful news on sudden infant death syndrome.
Just don't give up the morning program, okay?
You did it, Lean Cuisine. You gave me something new I really like. More satisfaction.
You really did it this time, Lean Cuisine. With new veal lasagna, I get the best quality meat, real cheese, and all for less than 300 calories. Lean Cuisine, I'm satisfied.
Lean Cuisine, more satisfaction with you.
New veal lasagna, one of 4 new Lean Cuisine entrees, only from Stouffer's.
Know why Hoover developed the Power Surge feature?
We're looking for lawn furniture.
So that this self-propelled cleaner could give you an incredible blast of power that can pick up just about anything. Concept 2, Hoover keeps making it better.
Very impressive. Who works at the electric company? How would you describe them?
Tall, with long arms so he could reach things, and regular ears and a regular nose.
The most important thing to know about your electric company is we're there when you need us.
Wow, a Canon camera within everyone's reach. The automatic Snappy S. It gives you outstanding clarity for a song. Moreover, Snappy gives you crisp 35mm photographs at a price that's a steal. All in all, you get Canon quality for peanuts. Snappy photo, don't you think? The fully automatic Snappy S. So advanced, you get a lot of Canon for a little money.
That'll do it. Who wants grapefruit juice?
I'll pass.
It's good for you.
I know, but...
Lots of vitamin C?
Yeah, but...
But the taste? Here, try this. Ocean Spray Pink Grapefruit Juice Cocktail. It's tangy, smoother, sweeter.
This is grapefruit juice?
It's Ocean Spray Pink Grapefruit Juice Cocktail.
It's not bitter.
And it's not just good for you, it's good. Ocean Spray good.
In this half hour, Dr. Bob Arnot will have new information about sudden infant death syndrome. But first, let's go to CBS News and Faith Daniels. Good morning, Faith.
Good morning, Rolland. Good morning, everyone. In the news today, the House-Senate hearings on the Iran-Contra affair open tomorrow, and President Reagan is still hanging tough. The chairman of the Senate committee, Daniel Inouye, says the president knew money was being raised to arm the Contras. But Mr. Reagan, speaking in New York, said he knew little about the fundraising efforts.
Thank you all very much. With regard to whether private individuals were giving money to support the Contras, yes, I was aware that there were people doing that. But there was nothing in the nature of a solicitation by the administration, to my knowledge, of anyone to do that.
Mr. Reagan also told newspaper publishers on Ellis Island that the United States must continue to support the anti-Sandinista rebels in Nicaragua. The Iran-Contra hearings open tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. CBS News will cover the opening live. Presidential contender Gary Hart is battling the Miami Herald over its coverage of his personal life. The paper reported that Hart spent the weekend with a young woman in Washington while his wife was in Denver. Hart denies it and denies having a personal relationship with the woman. His campaign manager calls the report preposterous, inaccurate, outrageous character assassination. The Miami Herald stands by its story and says womanizing has become a major issue of the Hart campaign. Nazi hunter Simon Wiesenthal says Kurt Waldheim has agreed to let an international committee investigate his past. And according to Wiesenthal, Waldheim says if it's proved that he was involved in Nazi war crimes, he'll resign as president of Austria. Pope John Paul returns to the Vatican tonight after a 5-day trip to West Germany. This morning, the Pope turned from criticism of the Nazis to criticism of the women's movement and materialism, and he led an ecumenical service calling for the unity of all Christians. The Queen Elizabeth II steamed into New York Harbor this morning, but it was not smooth sailing. Pipes leaked, cabins were chilly, and the swimming pool never opened. A rough return to service after a $130 million overhaul. The cruise line is offering passengers a 40% refund. And after remaining silent for the last 7 years, Mount St. Helens is reopening to hikers today. 57 people were left dead or missing when the volcano erupted in 1980. I'm Faith Daniels. That's the latest from CBS News.
Good morning, I'm Phyllis Armstrong. In local news this Monday, the findings from the grand jury probe into the Amtrak crash are due out today and could lead to charges against former Conrail engineer Ricky Gates. The Baltimore Evening Sun reports that state prosecutors will seek manslaughter charges against Gates, who resigned from his job last week. Investigators say Gates ran a Conrail locomotive through a slow signal and a stop signal before it crossed into the path of an Amtrak passenger train last January. 16 people died in the crash near Baltimore. A Prince George's County police officer and 2 other people had to be rushed to Prince George's Hospital this morning following a head-on collision. Authorities say a car crossed the median on Interstate 95 and slammed into the officer's police cruiser in the southbound lanes of the highway. Police suspect the driver of the passenger car fell asleep, causing the crash that injured 2 other people in that vehicle. The former governor of Virginia is denying allegations that he attended beach parties where cocaine was used. In an exclusive Eyewitness News interview last night, Charles Robb called the Richmond Times-Dispatch report false. Robb says he never saw illegal drugs being used at Virginia beach parties as far as he can recall. He says the allegations are lies told by political opponents. Now for a last look at the morning rush hour, here's Jerry Edwards.
Thank you, Phyllis. Things are still jammed up, and that ramp from the inner loop of the Beltway to northbound I-95 because of the jackknife tractor trailer, it's going to be closed until 11 o'clock this morning. Inner loop really jammed up this morning, heading around from before Tyson's over to the Cabin John Bridge. Traffic at the Wilson Bridge backed up to Telegraph Road because of a couple of disabled vehicles there. 50 in the BW Parkway, bumper to bumper as well. Phyllis?
Rainy weather.
There are some reports of flooding, too. Tell you about it in a minute.
Our suggestion box isn't always stuffed with ideas on how to change Dart Drug. Some people even tell us what we're doing better than our competition, like our Talk to the Pharmacist windows. Here, you can talk to your pharmacist in private to get advice or a professional explanation. At the new Dart Drug, we're working hard to keep your business, and for good reason. You've got a little influence around here.
Here at Crystal Ford, we're ready for sell a car to a nice guy month. Over here, we got escorts. Over here, we got more escorts. Down here, we've got more Mustangs, Tauruses, and Turbo T-Birds that you could shake a stick at. Basically, we got a lot of cars, and they gotta go. Look at all these Crown Vics. How are we gonna get rid of them? Sell them cheap. Good idea. We'll sell them cheap. So come to Crystal Ford and ask about our new loaner car policy. Sell them cheap. I like that.
Good morning, everyone. There are reports now of flooding in poor drainage areas. Some heavy rain around Washington and the Shenandoah Valley near the Blue Ridge and up near the Maryland-Pennsylvania border. Next 5 days, it's going to be wet today, drying out toward the end of the week. It's going to be cold today, warming up toward the end of the week. My forecast for Washington and vicinity today, very cool with rain and drizzle, some heavy, 50 to 55.
Have a good Monday.
Bye-bye.
It's 21.5 minutes after the hour.
The Personal Health and Medicine segment is sponsored by Aspirin-Free Anacin 3. For headaches, Anacin 3. It's 100% aspirin-free.
Until now, sudden infant death syndrome, called SIDS, has baffled medical researchers and paralyzed parents with fear. But in this week's New England Journal of Medicine, a new study contains some long-awaited evidence that SIDS can be explained and perhaps one day eliminated. Here with details is our Dr. Bob Arnot. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Rolland.
Before we start, would you define SIDS for us, please?
Well, sudden infant death syndrome is enormously controversial, and people don't really know what it is. From a clinical viewpoint, they know that these babies died rapidly, that one of the causes was a cessation of breathing, and that they also had swallowed their tongue or their soft palate. When the autopsy was done, they had had a long period, where there was little oxygen being delivered to their brain, and they also could find no other cause. So it was sort of a process of elimination. Now, beyond that, there are two prevalent theories. One theory is that it's sudden, unexplained, and there is no cause, which is the most frightening of all. The other theory says that there is some predisposing factor. Cardiologists say that there's some damage to the heart. Neurologists say that there's damage to the brain stem, which controls breathing. And because of that damage in the third trimester of pregnancy, something goes wrong between the 2nd and 4th month after birth. These babies die. Fortunately, that's all we know. Those are the clues, and it's too bad because there are 7,500 to 10,000 deaths a year, or 2 out of every 1,000 live births.
And in those clues, there's no way of telling who might be predisposed to get this.
No, they have clues that sort of weave through this, but they can't really put their finger on and say, this particular infant has a terribly high chance of sudden death. They do know this, that 60% of mothers whose children suffer SIDS are likely to have smoked or been in a heavy smoking environment. They may have been drug abusers, they may have had poor nutrition, had little or no prenatal care, or they could have been ill, for instance, anemic, or they may have had high or low blood pressure. Also, the baby is more likely to have been a low birth weight baby. As you know, low birth weight babies are most likely not to have had very much in the way of prenatal care. Their mothers may have had poor nutrition. It also may be geographical. In the South Bronx, 40 out of every 1,000 live births suffer SIDS, as compared to 2 on a nationwide basis. But as a bottom line, we really don't know, and it's hard to point the finger or blame anybody at this point.
Geographical or economical, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, what is the exciting news now about SIDS?
Well, here's what's interesting. There's a thing called fetal hemoglobin. Now, hemoglobin is what allows a red blood cell to latch onto an oxygen molecule, carry it, say, to muscle, and then let go of it. Fetal hemoglobin holds on too tightly. It doesn't seem to let go. And these babies have about 2.5 times as much fetal hemoglobin as they do normal hemoglobin. That's supposed to be a very important hint.
Does that happen at a specific time, or that kind of effect, that holding on to the hemoglobin?
Here's what happens. They have this effect anyhow, much later than they should, at 2, 3, 4 months out. They still have this hemoglobin that doesn't want to give up the oxygen. And also at that time period, between the 2nd and 4th month, there's a rapid drop-off in normal red blood cells. So the child is more anemic, has less oxygen carrying capacity, has this hemoglobin that's not giving up very much oxygen, and then whatever defect there is, say it is in the brain stem or in the heart, those 3 things together may add up to sudden infant death. And at this point, all we think we can do is, if this works out, screen babies for that fetal hemoglobin and then monitor them very, very closely, rather than using the current monitors, which don't seem to work out too well.
So it is new and hopeful information.
Right.
Good. Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
If you have any questions for Dr. Arnot, please write. We'll try to answer them on the air for you. Send your letters to Dr. Bob Arnot, 524 West 57th Street, New York, New York, 10019.
Hi. What did the doctor say?
The doctor said I could take Anacin 3 for my headaches. It's aspirin-free.
That's right. 100% aspirin-free. But Anacin 3 tablets have a protective coating for easier swallowing.
The same aspirin-free acetaminophen that's in Tylenol. But unlike Tylenol tablets with no coating, Anacin 3 adds a protective coating for easier swallowing.
Anacin 3 worked fast. Take 3, Anacin 3.
Also, Anacin 3 caplets with a protective coating for easy swallowing.
Soon this street will be teeming with people, tasting exotic foods from all over the world.
Thank you. Is it good?
Good and spicy.
Now Anne is about to experience a problem that's universal.
I've got heartburn. Can you beat that?
As a matter of fact, I can.
Pepto for heartburn?
Sure. As Pepto coats, it soothes heartburn, as well as upset stomach and diarrhea.
I didn't know you could conga. I can.
Pepto-Bismol, the one that coats, is the only one you need.
No cling nightgowns. Jump. No cling skirts. Jump. No cling to most anything. Jump, 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 jump. Bounce, but no cling things you can't wait to jump into. Jump. Feel the touch. Jump in. You are the one, so smooth and free around me. Jump, 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 jump. Bounce, but no cling things you can't wait to jump into. Jump.
Buy one of these. Drive off in one of these. Just buy one and get a chance to win one of 750 new 1988 Chevrolets. Buy these specially marked Procter & Gamble products and bring the key you'll find to your Chevy dealer. You could win a distinctive new Beretta, a full-size pickup, or a sleek new Corsica. We're celebrating Chevrolet's 75th anniversary by giving away 750 new Chevrolets. We want to make it an event you'll never forget.
In our last half hour, one of America's funniest men, Jack Carter.
And you'll learn why it makes a big difference whether you're the firstborn or the baby of the family.
Oh boy, I know the difference. Plus, Gene Kennedy Smith will talk about an arts program for very special youngsters. Stay with us.
And here's how you can get tickets to the morning program. Please call this number, 1-718-435-4444. We're asking nicely now, but we'll come to your home and make you dial 1-718-435-4444. Everyone together now, 718-435, everyone, 4444.
Tuesday on West 57th, Children of Alcoholics. All of us may know someone who needs help. West 57, now at a new day and time.
Triumph and despair. Cagney and Lacey. The riveting season climax starts tonight.
This is CBS.
When you were little, you didn't expect much from thrill rides. But then you grew up and went to King's Dominion.
King's Dominion is now open weekends.
Government regulations say we can make our Hebrew national beef hot dogs from frozen beef. We don't. The government says we can use artificial coloring. We don't. They say we can add meat byproducts. We don't. They say we can add non-meat fillers. We can't. We're kosher and have to answer to an even higher authority.
Wheel of Fortune's Vanna White talks about a rise to fame Monday on Donahue.
We had such a nice time last night.
Yes, a wedding. One of our staff people, Amy Rosenblum.
Amy Rosenblum. I was telling
married to
yes.
Ted Savaglio.
Who's
of CBS News, executive of CBS News.
It was a terrific wedding, but I was trying to explain to my daughter, who has a little trouble with gender, in her vocabulary. She said, "Who's getting married?" I said, "Amy Rosenblum. You've met her. You've met this person." She said, "Oh, Amy, is that the man?" And I said, "No." Okay, now I get home. I get home, and both my kids were waiting there saying, "How was the wedding? How was the wedding?" It was terrific. How was the kiss? Can you believe that's what kids really think about it? Was the kiss great? What did it look like? Was it great? I said, "Yeah, it was really nice. It was a great kiss."
I thought it was a wonderful wedding. I really enjoyed it.
It was so sweet and so nice.
Mark cries at weddings. Did you know that?
I do.
He does.
How was the kiss? Was it good?
It was great.
Okay, good. All right. Well, if rainy days and Mondays make you cry, you're going to be crying today. Look in the Northeast. Lots of rain in this part of the country today. 54 will be the high in New York City later on today, though. Rain up and down the eastern seaboard. Rain in this part of the country as well. 86 down here in Miami. I wanted to point out this high pressure system is sitting in Canada, which is just north. Did I know? I don't know, I tell you. Just north of the United States, Canada, lovely, lovely province of Ontario, Quebec. Yeah. I'm not saying anything else about Canadians. As we come west here, you see this part of the country is going to see sort of unsettling weather for the next 24, maybe to 36 hours. They had hail size, the size of grapefruit yesterday, and down in the Texas area, also down here in little parts of New Orleans. 84 will be the high down there in New Orleans. As we come a little bit further west, this is a place to be. Down here in the southwest, 95 will be the high in Phoenix. Big sun right here, 88 in Los Angeles. Up the west coast, 62 will be the high in Seattle. Maybe a gray crowd, but we shouldn't see too much rain today. That's a quick look at the national forecast. Here's the weather in your neck of the woods.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Bill Kamal. 2 days of very cool weather with periods of rain and drizzle, highs each day in the 50s. Tonight in the upper 40s. A warming trend beginning Wednesday with some clearing. That's the latest from the Channel 9 Weather Center.
That's the weather up to the moment. This portion of the morning program is sponsored by General Foods Corporation. Satisfying your family is what we're all about.
Say something, Sean.
For over 40 years, Jack Carter entertained audiences as comedian, impressionist, actor, and singer. He's currently leaving him laughing at Trump's castle in Atlantic City. And he's with us this morning. Please welcome Jack Carter.
Wait.
We just discovered that we're sitting the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm deaf in this ear, and she'll have to lean out. What did you say? Who's on?
Jack Carter.
Am I on
You're
now?
on
Good.
now.
No, but for the Canadians up there, I'm known as Jacques Cartier, huh?
Hey.
Oh. This is a young group. I mean, this is an embryo you have here.
I know. It's great, isn't it?
No, where are my little elderly ladies with the heavy bloomers? That's what I want.
Well, you're playing for them, aren't you?
Oh, that's all we have in Atlantic City. They import them by bus. Otherwise, it would be a desert area. Every morning, little buses go to Brooklyn, Trenton, Philadelphia, and drag little ladies against their will all the way to Atlantic City. Then when they get there, they give them $10 quarters. You know, you think these old ladies gamble? To you. Into the pocketbook, back in the bus, they go back to Brooklyn. They change dresses, they get back in the bus, they come back to Atlantic City, another $10, and they give them $5 parking. What can they park? They don't own the bus, you know? Now they go back to Brooklyn, back to Trenton, back to Bridgeport, wherever, back in the bus, they come back an hour later. Now by the end of the week, they own the bus, and the driver's walking on the highway home. And they just walk around sit down with the little legs open all day. It's like my mother. Little women at a certain age, automatically one day their legs just pop open. Just stays like that the rest of their life, you know.
Oh, that's terrible. I said that's terrible.
Terrible, oh, I see. And the little husband's always behind them with the hand like this. They use the rest of here. Then you find out there's nothing wrong. They just like doing that. That's it. Have you got that ailment? No, just love doing this. That's it.
Oh, that's terrible. Now, you go out into the audience usually in your show, don't you?
Yeah, I didn't know you had an audience. I mean, the last time I got up this early and had people, I got drafted. This is ridiculous. You didn't hear about the limo coming here that was bringing me here, huh?
No, I didn't hear.
Never came.
Never
came, Mariette. 4 limos went by. When I saw one driven by Brian Gumbel, I knew I was in trouble, you know? I mean, Trump got me here, and then Tish screwed me up. I got to tell you that.
No
limo came. 47 girls from your show called for the limo. First they called, it'll be there 7:30. See, I drove in with my conductor, Stan Free, my piano player.
Yeah, right.
Stayed at his apartment in West 92nd. And I came down 7:20 this morning, stood there, you know, bleary-eyed, red, nothing, no limo, nothing. 8 o'clock, I got through to CBS Morning News, who called here, and they said, oh gosh, nothing? I said, grab a cab, run here. So I got into one of the many cabs, and the driver, yeah, CBS, yeah, we attacked tomorrow, we bombed them in the morning. Now I get here, I get another one of the 1,000 downstairs. No one knew me at the desk. The show's on already. Sorry, sir. Boing. You know. Then a lovely little Japanese girl said, follow me. She walked into a door. You know, didn't know where it was. Now as I'm getting makeup, she said, how'd you get it? I got here with my own car. She said, shall we have a limo for you after? I said, no, don't do anything. Don't do anything. I'll get home by myself. Leave me alone.
Does everybody know you as Jack Carter?
No, some call me Irving Glick. What do you mean, Jack?
No, I mean, but when you go out into the audience,
no,
what do people say to you?
No, I'm working in a room at Trump's Castle where actually I love to circle an audience, you know. I love to know where the enemy is, you know. You find out about different people, and always someone goes up, "Are you anybody?" In the room I'm working in, you know. I mean, it really happened. Like at an airport once, this girl looked at me and said, "Oh, you're my favorite." It was an Avis girl. Avis. I said, she said, "You're my favorite, Shelley Berman." I said to her, "No wonder you're number 2, you know." But my all-time best was the woman actually followed me down the boardwalk last week, followed me for blocks and said, "I don't mean to insult you, but are you Jack Carter?" That is my favorite. I don't mean to insult you. Did you used to be Red Buttons?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It's always that, yeah.
People don't. Unless you're on a steady basis, people really don't recognize you.
But I think you do a lot of things. That's a lot of things.
Oh. Sometimes. Things? I'm not that deaf now. Now, cut that out.
No, but you do. I mean, you do very serious acting. You've done some terrific things.
A lot of serious acting.
So it's very hard for people
like
to
today,
pin you
very
down.
serious.
It's hard for people to know what it is you do.
But your face should be recognizable after a while. But people don't associate it. I think the name Carter is bland, you know? It's like if it was Carbuncle or something, you know, or Cardangle, anything. But Carter is like, "Oh, Carson, you're Jack Carver.
Right.
Parver Carr. Why aren't you Jack Parr?" You know, and I hated having to change my name. I didn't do it. Major Bose did. I was on a tour with, we were all kids, Robin Merrill and Paul Winchell and Frank Sinatra. Frank was a ringer. He was a pro. He was getting $70 a week. We got 40. And I always said that name, Carter, it didn't rest right with me. But I hated to change it. I think there's only one person in show business that kept their real name. It was Whoopi Goldberg. That's the only one I can think of.
What is your name really?
It used to be Cha-Cha.
What is your name really?
It's Chakrin, C-H-A-K-R-I-N. It's Russian. You really say it, you say Chakrin. But there's a fine spray when you say it. Well, that's native to Russian, like Israeli also. There's a lot of like Chaim Weitzman or Yitzchak Rabim.
Or then
Yeah, or Menachem Begin. What, that's a plan, see, because the Chach and the Plem drives the Arabs back. See, that's why Arafat for years wears that towel around his head. Israeli always spits at me. And it's very hard to Chach, because I was in Israel with Sinatra on a tour, a charity tour for the University of Jerusalem, and he had to introduce his wife to Menachem Begin, and he said, "Barbara, this is the Prime Minister of Israel, Menuki, this is Menagerie Bacon, this is Manakoti Bagun," you know. I really was with Frank in Israel. That's why I was so thrilled to have him in Atlantic City.
Well, I would love to hear that at another time.
Oh.
Maybe when you come back.
Can I get the last part of it in? Can I get the last part in? Well, I went to Bethlehem. I wanted to see the manger where Sinatra was born. And it's so wonderful. And there were the 3 wise men, Nunzi, Titty, and Cheech.
Goodbye, Jack.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Is my limo waiting?
Coming up next, you'll find out what it means to be the oldest in your family and the youngest, and maybe somewhere in between. So stay with us.
For Post Natural Bran Flakes Rue McClanahan on getting the best out of life.
Because last night I was so bad. I'm making sure I have a good morning.
Reach for the best tasting, highest fiber bran flake. Post Bran Flakes at their best. For Post Natural Bran Flakes, Steve Allen on getting the best out of life.
My best always comes out with a little humor, and sometimes with a sliced banana.
Reach for the best tasting, highest fiber bran flake. Post Bran Flakes at their best.
If Magic Chef weren't committed to making better appliances, we wouldn't put in extra features that make them better. An ice maker that makes more ice in a day than anyone else's, 12 pounds, not 5. Washers that get more clothes cleaner, reducing loads up to 40%. Ranges that put an end to dirty rings and pans because we seal in solid disc elements. Extra features you want at prices you can afford. Quality appliances, backed by quality service. Magic Chef.
Flower shop?
Hello? I want to get my mom something special.
I could send your mom a lovely picture frame bouquet from Teleflora. She'll love the flowers. And it comes with a silver-plated picture frame.
Wow, she loves stuff like that.
Sir, will this be cash or credit card?
The antique picture frame bouquet from Teleflora. You can send one anywhere.
Hey, Dad. Ready for another game?
Time out for Tetley. Make your next fast break an icy, refreshing glass of Tetley tea.
Time out for tiny little tea leaves
in Tetley tea.
Mom, I'm too young to get heartburn.
But you're not too young for Tums. It's rich in calcium, and our doctor said teenagers need extra calcium in their diets.
As much as their moms do?
What do Joan Collins, Jimmy Carter, and Don Johnson have in common? Well, they're all firstborn children. So what, you ask? The order in which you're born has a lot to do with the kind of person you are. So says Dr. Kevin Leman. He explains it in a book called Birth Order. Birth Order book. He's with us this morning. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Let's find out what this is. Let's talk about birth order. How do you tell a firstborn?
Well, firstborns are reliable, conscientious. They're list makers as adults. They're achievers. The astronauts in outer space are the first 21 firstborn children. The other two were onlys. President of the United States, firstborn children. Jimmy Carter, firstborn. If you want contrast, Billy Carter, baby of the family.
Interesting. So those are some famous examples, and you have others. How about middle children?
Middle children, if you want to get a laugh out of them, you say family photo album. Notice the 7 pictures of the middle child, contrast that with the 3,510 of the firstborn. Crown prince or princess. So middle children are squeezed. They end up negotiators. They endure many hand-me-downs, and we feel sorry for them, but they're probably the best adjusted of all the birth orders, the most monogamous in marriage, the ones that will hang in there, and the ones who have plenty of friends.
And the baby of the family?
Little Schnooky, yes. The one who is most likely to get away with murder. The one who is good at setting up older brother and sister. You know, they hit brother and sister, so mommy and daddy come in and say, I told you leave your little brother alone. Boom, 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 boom. The little kid might be crying on the outside, but smiling on the inside. And so we find that babies of the family are tremendous salespeople. They could sell dead rats for a living, to put it bluntly.
Now, what if you have more than 3 kids, though? What if you got 4, 5, and 6?
Well, for what reason? Babe Ruth comes to mind. He's a firstborn child, but he was born 5th. Well, why is he a firstborn? Because he has 4 older sisters. And so sex is a determinant. So there's more than one firstborn in most families. So you have to look at sex, and you have to look at the age spread. If there's a 5-year gap between births, we draw a line, so to speak, and start another family.
Do you know, you don't know me personally?
No.
You don't, do you know
I watch you.
Do you know Mariette personally?
No, I don't.
Do you have any idea what she is?
She acts like an only. If she's not an only, she's a firstborn female in her family.
Is that true, Mariette?
Yes.
Which
I'm the firstborn.
Firstborn.
How about me?
Who wishes she were an only.
The thing came along.
Right?
You should be a firstborn as well. Now, you're one of those people that, you know, maybe you'd fool me, but you have that crisp look. Some people look like they stepped off the cover of Outdoor Life. You're not one of them. You look like you could have stepped off the cover of Esquire because you have that neat, crisp look. So my guess is firstborn. And I base that on talk show people, host, anchor people, tend to be only in firstborn children. Ted Koppel's an only child. Oprah is a firstborn. Phil is a firstborn as well.
Now, the difference between firstborn and only child, you mentioned the 2 of them.
Yes, well, onlys are super reliable, super conscientious. They are most affected by the marriage. They look up, and of course their models are adults. And so they get along very, very well with people who are much younger than them, very well with people who are much older than them. If they have problems in life, it's with people their own age. The problem for the only child is when mom and dad get older in life, there's no one else to turn to help with raising mom and dad at that stage.
You could tell then by talking to somebody for a few minutes whether they're an only child, firstborn, second, third?
Lots of times I can, yeah. It's interesting.
I'll bet. Why did you get interested in this?
Well, I met a psychology professor at the University of Arizona by the name of Oscar Christensen, and the man seemed normal. Now, That intrigued me to begin with, but he was my mentor, and I've been studying birth order since 1967. In my own family, my oldest sister, Sister Sally, she's the firstborn. You come to her home, the first thing you see is a clear vinyl runner. You can take it to any room in the house. She irons the Davenport in her spare time. Everything's got to be perfect. And I had a rough and tumble brother who was the quarterback on the football team, and I graduated fourth in the bottom of my class in high school. Do you remember the reading groups we had? The red birds, the blue birds, the yellow birds? I was a crow. So it fit our family perfect. So from a personal level, I got interested in birth order. I said, boy, there's sense to this. So I've looked at marriage and birth order, and it's really interesting to see how we match up.
Now, should parents look at that of their children that they have and perhaps guide them differently?
Oh, absolutely, because, you know, when a job has to be done, Rolland, who do we call on? The firstborn. You know, the dog flops have to be picked up. You know, calling the firstborn. I say, hey, what's wrong with little Snooky? They can throw the dog flops in the neighbor's yard as well as the firstborn. So why not spread that responsibility out in children? And why not take special one-on-one time with especially that middle child who many times feels squeezed?
Can you consciously change what you are, firstborn, middle child, baby?
Well, many people live with perfectionism, and I say that that's slow suicide, mostly firstborns and onlys, I might add. And yes, you can change it if you're aware of how you put the high jump bar of life, as I like to talk about it, on other people. What makes you good in your job, if you're a systems analyst or an accountant or an architect, is that perfectionism in your life. But you come home to dinner and you find the flaw, and you say, hey, what's with the carrots? Now that is not going to be rewarded. So realize that what makes us good at our job sometimes gets in the way of our personal relationships, Rolland.
It sure doesn't. I hated carrots as a kid.
Me too.
Oh, I did. Not anymore. Thank you very much, David Leman.
Coming up next, Gene Kennedy Smith will tell us about very special artists when we return.
Here's a fresh idea from Holly Farms and Dinah.
Has a chicken ever had a standing ovation? Never. Unless you sprinkle these fresh cut peppers over your sauteed chicken, the freshest chicken possible. Holly Farms. They guarantee the taste of first day freshness, and they have a special seal that keeps it that way. You toss your chickens, and voila! Oh, you haven't even tasted it yet.
Holly Farms guarantees the taste of first day freshness.
Millions of Americans, like me, are living life to its fullest, despite high blood pressure. They see their doctors regularly and control their pressure with diet medication. Occasionally, some may experience changes in how they feel. If you're on blood pressure medication and haven't felt quite like yourself, stay on it, but see your doctor. You can decide on your best treatment, one that controls your pressure and lets you feel like yourself.
Squid, helping to improve the quality of your life.
Best Products and Black & Decker have got some great ideas for Mom waiting for you. Black & Decker's popular automatic shut-off iron with Silverstone coating shuts itself off if you forget, $39.92. Black & Decker's Space Maker can opener mounts conveniently under cabinet, $18.92. Black & Decker's Space Maker drip coffee maker saves counter space, and the digital clock timer brews coffee automatically, $56.96. All this and more at Best Products.
Dear Mr. Continental Airlines, thanks to your low Max Saver fares, every time I try to get a moment's rest, someone else falls out of my family tree, like my relentlessly gushing Aunt Sylvia, and the grandparents east and west, my revered namesake, and assorted aunts, uncles, and rivals to the family fortune. I'll have to cut this short, Mr. Continental. It's feeding time.
Continental Max Savers are here to stay.
Very Special Arts is for very special people. It's a program designed for talented artists with severe disabilities. With us this morning are the founder of Very Special Arts, Gene Kennedy Smith, and one of its shining lights, deaf actress and playwright, Taraline Thoreau. Good morning.
Good morning.
Gene, tell us about this very special program, how you got involved and what it's all about.
Well, Very Special Arts is an organization that was founded in 1974 at the John F. Kennedy Center in Washington.
And what we try to do is open up opportunities in the arts for people who may have a disability, either adults or children. And we have arts festivals in all 50 states. We have boards in all 50 states, and we have programs now in 40 countries overseas. And we also have special projects, which is one that Teroline's involved in, with the Henry Fonda Young Playwriting Project. The idea really is that people with disabilities can participate in the arts and should be encouraged to, because it's very important in all our lives. We need that experience to appreciate the arts and to have a chance to be creative. So this is what we're trying to do. And Teroline has been in the Henry Fonda Young Playwrights Project, which encourages children, 13 to 18, adults, young adults I should say, to write plays about a disability. And her play has been very successful, was performed at the Kennedy Center in Washington.
With George Segal, I understand.
George Segal, and at the Royal Court Theatre in London.
Carrie, tell us what this play is about.
My play is about, well, I'll give you an answer in a line, that my goal is to reach an audience by saying the play is to stop labeling people and accept them for who we are inside as people.
I think we all beg for that, don't we?
Yes.
Yes. You were recently in Cagney and Lacey. You're a very talented young actress. We would like to see a scene from that, and then I want to talk to you about it.
Okay.
Put the gun down. Back off him. Put the gun down. Don't go out. I just called the police. I said put it down. Now. Freeze. Drop the gun. Drop it. We are the police. You're under arrest. He's dead. You right? You think she's retarded? I think she's dead.
Well,
thank you.
You played, obviously, a juvenile delinquent that no one knew was deaf. Tell us more about that character.
I think my character is very smart because I used my deafness to get away with things. And I think that movie was really good for people because it really showed that they shouldn't pity us because we're deaf.
You said once that you were very proud to be deaf. What did you mean by that?
It means that I'm really confident in myself, that my deafness is not a barrier to my way of life, that I can continue with acting and writing and my dancing, and that I'm able to just go ahead with what I want, that nothing should stop me because I'm deaf. That's what I meant by that.
And as in Children of a Lesser God, you're also involved with a hearing man, is a boyfriend who can hear. Is that true? Or no more?
Well, yes, I have a hearing boyfriend. Yeah.
And it's none of your business.
And he can sign, but he knows how to sign very well.
Jean, do you see that this is typical of the disabled people that you basically work with? And I hate to use that label.
Yes.
This kind of
physically
pride...
or mentally challenged.
Oh, good. What is that?
Physically or mentally challenged.
That's terrific. Do you find this kind of pride with these people?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, because I think that we found in some of our programs, for instance, we have a program with the Alvin Ailey Dance Company for visually impaired people. And I think people would have thought that blind people could not dance. Of course they can, and very successfully. So it's just a question of opening doors, that's all.
Deaf people dance also.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Caroline is very
How do you do that?
I like it.
But do you feel the music?
Yes. you're able to feel the music. Sometimes I can see the music through the movement. The movement really reflects the music.
Jean, we have an address for people who are mentally and physically challenged if they want to know more about your program. Write to Very Special Arts, Kennedy Center Education Office, Washington, D.C. 20056, or call 1-800-USA-3336.